Hey everybody, it's Rick, and we're here again, Programming Wordle. Number 29 was a long session, and so tonight I'm not going to go very long online, but I did start to look at the code a little bit to figure out what I'd do today. I know what we're not going to do today. We're not going to do the dimming keyboard business. I think I'm going to properly work out the logic for that offline and off screen and maybe present it a little bit. I do want to show this. I started thinking about the classes that we'd have to write to really take advantage of MVC. As you've seen from the previous sessions, we have a control. This picture, by the way, is from the aspiring craftsman Derek Greer's website. We have in our program today a main program that is essentially the controller. This thing runs the entirety of the game. But there are things that are, I think, there are things that this code does that are probably best suited for the model to do. I speak really only of a few things, but one of them is this calculation if the word is good. The controller is doing that check. Maybe the model should have that check. I speak of it because the GuessRow is really something that's in the model. When we think of the game, or when I think of the game, for me the game is 6 GuessRows, and that's really it. And what can you do to those GuessRows? You can submit a word to them. That will calculate the new state of that GuessRow, and then it will constantly check if any of the GuessRows, and in our case really it's the latest GuessRow, it will constantly check the latest GuessRow to see if you guessed the word or if you have consumed all your GuessRows, which there are 6. So that's why I think the model is really quite simple and probably doesn't deserve a class. I think where it might be interesting to have a class is when the model changes. For example, after you give it a word, there is a implication that the view will somehow be told of that. In both Derek's page, he mentions this observer. When notification to the view and controller are necessary, the model uses the observer pattern to send a message notifying these things that an object in the data has changed. Observing objects, notifying observing objects that its data has changed. So they and the same thing with Martin Fowler's documentation. he mentions this observer pattern quite a number of times. Low-level widgets observe the model, and what that means, what that says to me, is that both the curses mode and the line mode will really know that the model has changed, but we directly tell it that the model has changed in this code. We directly say GuessRow, we pass it in, that's directly changing the model, and then we update the row, we calculate whether it's the correct word, and by the way, that should be part of the model. I would think that's part of the model. The user never sees it, but the user can know that it's a part of it. The user can know that the model can check whether any guess row has the correct word or not. But see here, we update it directly. We call the model directly, and then we update the guess row. But these are really view functions. So see, this is really a view mechanism, and instead what could happen is that Wordle curses could receive the model as a as an object that it observes, or maybe it can register itself as an observer, and when it does that, it might get the message that, hey, something has changed. And what's interesting to me about that idea is that I'll go to it here. If I just search observe in the docs with org, I'm going to put observer. There is this concept that you can do observations of a particular property if it changes. So here, let's take a look at what this does. This is my first time to look at this part of an instance or a type. So if we have a model class, if we have a model instance, in my diagram, the Wordle model, if we have that as an instance, we could make each guess row a property that will tell anything watching it that it has changed. And here's this property observers action. Let's see. Property observers are called every time a property's value is set, even if the new value is the same as the old. And yeah, so here's total steps. This is interesting. Yeah. So if it will set new total steps, did set yeah, so yeah, these are the observers, will set and did set, and these are going to be called whenever it's changed. But now, can another class do it? That's the Anyway, I saw the fact that there were observers here. Like maybe this feels inverted to me. Maybe the model is past the game. And if the guess row is set, the view can change. Anyway, a lot of this is GUI based, but Wordle is even though we're playing it in a GUI, it's turn based. We're taking turns. We're doing things one step at a time. It doesn't have to be. It's not dynamic like this pedometer. So we can do things in lockstep, and that's okay. But it made me intrigued that there was this concept of observers. And if I go back, I want to see if maybe no. Yeah, it doesn't have any good suggestion on how we can implement something like this, where the view declares itself an observer of that property. But it's fine because we don't have to be too strict. But do realize that when I make a class called Wordle model, it will be the one that's called, and then the view will have to query it to see what change has been made. It's a bizarre bit of indirection, but it's going to make the code a little better architected. Like, for example, the code can then, the model could own this thing, the correct word message, and which it doesn't exist in the CURSES view, but we can bring this into the CURSES view if both of these were using the same model, for example. Yeah, it's more, it centralizes things more. So I'm not going to be on here very long tonight because last night I was on for 2 hours, but I am going to attempt to make a class called WordleLineMode. I'm going to open this class, and remember, with the folding, I can not this way. With the folding, you can see that the class is relatively compact. Like this here, if I hover over here and I press the command, you can see the individual methods: draw, updateGuessRow.prompt, updateStatus, close. What we will do is make a class that looks an awful lot like this one. And then instead of these naked prints here, we'll just call that class. So, and once I finish that, what we should be able to do is then lift this entire main into its own file, and then we can do some special magic to call to instantiate either the command line view or the CURSES view. I don't know how much of that I'll get done. Maybe just the first part of making the view on the right hand side, which we'll now focus on. But it is the it's the goal for this evening is to ultimately unite the main, but to at least start with making the second view, the WordleLineMode class, and then yeah. So I'm gonna go off screen. We'll go try to write some code as best we can, and catch you on the other side. Okay, well, I made some changes, very, very small changes. I made a new class. I called the class and I called its initial function draw. And what should happen is that this, when it comes up, should play the game as it did before, but it has that new banner that I put in, Wordle CLI by Umali. This still missing required module curses. Interesting. Hang on. No such Wordle TUI. I'm getting a little confused. Okay, yeah, TUI is the CURSES version. And WordleLineMode. Oh, interesting. Yeah, there is no such module, Wordle TUI. But I also, that has nothing to do with this error. So I'm a little worried, but let's see if this next build fixes things. I did remove that incorrect import, but it gave an error that missing required module curses. Yeah, so it did work, and there is this double printing, so let me fix that. I do a draw here. Oh, I think I do it way at the top. Yeah, oh my gosh. That is it's the history of the project. We started it as a hacked together version of Wordle, but here I am trying to put some architecture around it. Put some real thought into this, and so yeah, we definitely don't need this line up here. Then we'll play a game. Let's play Wordle. Maybe when this game is finally finished and I have it running in Swift UI, maybe that's what I'll do, is for 5 days straight I'll play Wordle using this game and its super hard dictionary. I like this guess 2 out of 6. That's not in the CURSES version, but we can easily add that. But you could see it because we already draw the entire grid ahead of time. This is only here because in line mode you don't know what guess number you're on, or we want to tell the user that. We got 3 of the letters, T, A, and S. So X, T, S, A. So I'm going to try to make a word with that, but I don't think that's possible. No. Adds two. What's the other one that I can? I'm gonna put in this even though it doesn't fit. So I got the A right, and we already knew about T. So A, so the A X T S AXT, we know it's not there. It's going to be a word that fits that pattern where X is a new letter. So ACT Artes. No, but it's not an R. Oh, ANSI. Oh, I just played ANSI. Okay, so maybe this is not the right way to do it. ASSOT. See, this morning, or I think it was yesterday morning, I played Wordle, and I played EAVER, if you remember that from a previous session. I should put that in, but so ASSOT is the word. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to even look it up. And I got it in 3 guesses. So what I'm going to do is now modify the code to use this class, and then you'll see what I do with the class, because how we unite it, we're going to make both the line mode and the curses mode. This maybe should be renamed curses mode, or maybe this should be named. Anyway, we'll make both of these descend from a superclass, a common superclass, and the main, or the controller, will have a variable that is the superclass, and we can give it either WordleLineMode or Wordle curses. That's the plan. But let me go and convert this main to use WordleLineMode and see how far I get with that. Okay, I made another change, small change. I've filled out the prompt function, and am I calling it? Yeah, I am calling it. And then I also made a quick update to make a update status. So we're gonna now run the game to see if this works. That was from yesterday. So far today, just this one commit. Yeah, while this is building, I'll just mention that in the 90s when I first started working, I was somewhat of a workaholic, and I really took seriously the problems at work, and I would bring them home with me, and I would, like, at this hour, instead of doing hobby programming, I would do work programming. And it was weird because I don't know if I would say I did that a lot, but I did it enough times to know that it felt weird. And so I'm trying this. This is another reason I'm doing these live streams, is to kind of expend some of this creative, technical energy, work energy. It's very odd. Again, it's odd because my hobby is to write programs, but I also get paid to do that. It's a different animal doing it professionally, I'll assure you. I mean, I was trying to do it for 4 or 5 hours, and here I am. I'm really only going to try to go for another 5 minutes. But it's interesting to me. Okay, so the prompt works. Yeah, and the check works. But now if I do this, that works. So I'm going to commit this change. Updates. I'll put WordleLineMode.prompt and update status. Okay, good. So I'm going to go off screen again, try to fill in some more of this so that there's really no more empty print statements. I'm really getting rid of the print statements in this main program, and then we'll compare it with the other side, and then we'll maybe I will try uniting it tonight, or maybe I'll just save that for tomorrow, where I also won't stay very long. Let's see what happens. Okay, so here's something interesting. The CLI program, when it draws the game board, it only draws what was previously guessed. Whereas in the curses version, we draw on the board. So there, even though we collect previously guessed rows, we don't really use them in the curses version. We don't use this array for anything. And to some extent, it's largely the model. The model should have this array, and in the case of the CLI version, it prints out the array when we tell the view to draw. But for curses, when we tell the view to draw, we don't tell the view to draw. We update a small portion of the window with the updateGuessRow. So there's definitely a mismatch here, and I think I'm going to keep going to put this into a function in the view, but we're going to probably have to come to this in a different way, because if we want a common main or a common controller, well, at some point when we guess the row, we should update the guess row with this. We update the row. Basically, we tell whether it's which ones are yellow, which ones are green. But then here, we in the text mode, what we should probably do is just draw. And here we should probably draw, but we should maybe pass in a function that this update guess row should really be just a small draw function. Update guess row. And this one, maybe this should have an update guess row, but this is really, actually, I know now what's the problem. This is really updating the view. This is updating the view, and we have to tell it to update the view, but in here, the view for this is previous guess rows enumerated and print everything out. Here, we do update guess row, but both of them are the same things. They're updating the view, and in the CLI mode, the view changes it. Every new guess adds a row, but from a logical point of view, it's a single view, and we're just telling it to update itself, update the view. So I'll make the change and then make the corresponding change in the curses mode. See if both still work, and yeah, then we'll call it quits, I think, at that point. I'm just going to jump in here and say this function updateGuessRow, we only pass in the guess row that is affected. But we add that to the previous guess rows. And here we tell which guess it is. So in theory, updateGuessRow or updateView can really just be passed this block, this array. And this array is as I said before, it's really the model. So there's quite a bit of rejiggering to do, but I'm going to do it on the line mode side, and hopefully you'll follow along what's happening. Now let me just make sure. Did I just realize, did I miss a commit? Yeah. So I have these changes, but let me get rid of this one and test out these changes, and maybe I'll even stop here. I'm going to check these two tests. Your word is not in my dictionary. You need a 5-letter word, and let's make sure that this is working. And if those are working, then I'll just put to-do statements into the maybe into my separate file. I have a separate file of to-do statements here. How am I doing on that? Yeah, I'm gonna say revamp. I'm going to put here that it doesn't need the number because it just look at the last one. It only needs the last one, and I believe there's a method in the array to return the last one. Okay, so what am I testing here? I am testing your word is not in my dictionary. So if I put in earth, that's in the dictionary. EAVER is in the dictionary, but what about Axios? So that prompt is fine. And then the other prompt is you need a 5-letter word. So I'm going to put in guesses. You need a 5-letter word. So it's printing it out properly. And the guess counter is 6. So I'm just going to go through it. Let's make a show of it. Chest. No. Boy, this is a hard one. PL plunk. Got the L and the N. Noble. Your word's not in my dictionary. Noble. So close. I got the N, O, and L. The last guess. Make it a good one. I don't know if there's anybody out there who wants to help me. Put it in the chat. I'm going to say noble. L-O-N. L-O-N. It's going to be this. Longs. That's not it. Yeah. INDOL. Gotta fix that dictionary. Okay, everybody, we have our to-dos. Let me push this code. We have our to-dos. Namely, we're going to unite this this block here with really this function, and this function we're going to rename to be like update view, for lack of a better word. Thanks for checking this out. I appreciate it, and we'll talk with everybody next time, definitely.